Okay, YouTubers, this is the Angry Prepper. So today's video, we're going to go over the aftermath of an EMP attack part 2. Again, guys, I told you it's going to be multiple parts. I think it's going to be 5 or 6 parts. So, hold on for that. I know a lot of you guys like this storytelling, if you will, and that's what it is. It's, theorizing, storytelling, however you want to look at it. So, guys, this is still the first day. And on the first day, people are going to start noticing something very, not peculiar, but worrisome. And it's going to be the water. Now, for a lot of people who are still at home, working from home, they're going to notice this almost right away, especially if they live in a building that's taller than 7 stories. Now, we got a lot of buildings here that are taller than 7 stories. We also have a ton of buildings here that are under 7 stories, or rather 6 stories. So a lot of the buildings that are over 7 stories are going to start seeing water problems almost immediately. A lot of the buildings, guys, that are over 7 stories tall, they have either tanks at the top of the building or a pump in the basement that shoots the water up the building. For those people that have that set up, they're going to see water come to a trickle almost immediately. People who have gravity tanks that are on top of the building, they're going to see water pressure stay up until the gravity tank is done. So the lessening of water pressure is going to be almost instantaneous. Now, your water's not going to be coming out as strong, regardless of what floor you live on, but you're going to have a decent flow of water if you're under 7 stories. Again, for those that live above, they're going to see water trickling out of their faucets. With that, guys, if you know that, if you see the signs of the water pressure drop, I would all but almost immediately run to the stores and get as much water as you possibly can. You should have water stored away, but you should also have a backup plan as to getting water from the stores. Now, again, most preppers are going to identify this. If you identify this within the first 2 hours of being an EMP, you should already be making your way out of the city. If you don't have a vehicle, I suggest you start walking. If you have a vehicle, see if it works before you start walking. Because it would suck if it works and then you're fucking halfway to, Kansas or some shit and the fucking car's still working. So test the car first, see if it works, and if it does, get out of Dodge immediately. These videos are, again, storytelling. For those of you that are going to stay behind because you're a die-hard New Yorker, so be it. If you're going to stay behind, get water as soon as you can and start coming up with methods on how to get water, because, guys, you're not drinking the Hudson River or the East River because it's polluted, dirty, and it's salty. For New York City water, the water that's still in the main, we probably have anywhere between 24 to 48 hours of water that's in the main. So after that water's in the main, after the water in the main is done, you're not going to get any more water. So you're absolutely going to have to think of a way on how to get water. Now, rain is one way, but that's not going to always happen. So you're going to have to come up with a method to get water. Now, if you live in the city, you're all but going to have to leave almost immediately, because water is, guys, that's the life source. So is food, but water is the life source. And without water, guys, you're dead in the water, no pun intended. But if you have water stored away, you can come up with a game plan, or at the very least, figure out how you're going to leave the city, because eventually, guys, you're going to have to leave. Because cities like New York are going to be screwed when it comes to no water. Now, there are places you can find water throughout the city, but a lot of that, guys, it's polluted, it's dirty. And if you don't have the skills to filter it out, and even if you have the skills to filter it out, you're going to come out or yield way less water than you started out with. Now, at this point, guys, there's this overwhelming bad feeling in the air, at least for us preppers and even the normies. They're going to look around and be like, yo, this shit don't fucking feel right. This is not a blackout like we've never seen before. This feels different. There's going to be just a bad feeling, and it's going to be in the air, and a lot of people are going to feel it. A lot of people are going to sense it. Criminals are going to sense it automatically and be like, free for all, and they're going to run around the city fucking shit up. But with the 9/11 system, guys, that's going to be completely chaotic. Now, we're going to talk about EMTs specifically and cops in this video. And EMTs, guys, medics, EMTs, police officers, they're going to, like I said before, if I haven't said it already, sorry, respond to emergencies in walking distance. So they can't, it's especially with firemen and cops that have stations that they report back to, they're only going to go within walking distance of what they can respond to. especially if their vehicles are not working. Now, if their vehicles are working for whatever reason, because they have an older model, then they'll be responding to what they can, but they will be overwhelmed soon after. Like I said before, with firefighters, they're going to be running around the city, getting people out of stuck elevators throughout the city. So if there's a fire that pops up, guys, they're going to try to respond to that fire as best as they can. Now, if the engine and trucks are working, then you got hope. But with the engines and trucks working, especially the engines, because the engines carry the water, they only have 500 gallons of water in that tank. And after that water's done, it's done. If there is a fire and they hook up to a hydrant and they can get decent pressure out of that hydrant, they're only going to get decent pressure out of that hydrant for so long. So they have to put that fire out as soon as possible and as fast as possible. Now, if a whole apartment's going, that's gonna, or rather 2-3 apartments are going, 2-3 floors at the same time are going with fire, that building's at a total loss. And I don't know how much water they're gonna burn through before they can turn that out, or before they actually run out of water. Now, outside of the fire, guys, whatever fire breaks out, that's it, it's done. You know, unfortunately, especially like a building like mine, which is a tinder box, the fire is going to have to burn itself out before they can even help. Now, if the engines are running, if the engines are not running and the trucks are not running, well, all bets are off. You are on your own. You're becoming your own firefighter if you can, or all else, guys, you have to leave. For everything else, you're going to have to leave your preps behind and bounce, because there's no saving it, especially if the fire's on, let's say, the second floor, the third floor of your building, and you live in a tinder box like mine, which is an old school apartment building. There's no stopping that fire. You can get out as much as you can before you can't go back into the building, but that's it. After that, the building's at a total loss. Now, EMTs and medics, guys, different problem they're going to have is they're going to respond to what they can respond to by foot, but there'll be no way to get the patient to the hospital, especially if the ambulances are not running. And even if they can get certain people to the hospital because they're close by, like let's say Harlem Hospital, for example, they're only going to be able to do that so many times before they're wiped out. They're only going to be able to go up, guys, 20 flights, 21, 30 flights to get somebody to bring them back down. There will be no communication, so they'll be doing this all on their own. And they'll be responding to a lot of apartments all on their own. Cops usually back up EMS and fire when whatever run comes in, whatever kind of call comes in, they back us up. With that, guys, there might not be backup. So these guys are going to go up 21 flights, and they're going to look at a patient and go, she's dead, or he's dead. There's not much we can do. We can't get him to the hospital. Even if we revive this person, we can't get him to the hospital in time to save him. With that, guys, you're going to run into fights and arguments with family members in the apartment. So if you're an EMT and if you are a medic, you are probably going to be alone at that point, and you're going to have to either vacate the apartment fast or fight. Your only two options. Now, guys, with people being sick, there are going to be a lot of people running out into the streets looking for help. Now, granted, if you can carry somebody down 21 flights, how are you going to get them 8 blocks to the hospital? St. Luke's is the furthest hospital. Actually, they're probably both about the same. They're probably both about the same distance from me. So with that, how are you going to get that person to the hospital 8 blocks? You're going to carry them. You can have a team of people carry them, but by the time you get to the hospital, guess what's going to happen? The hospital is going to be overwhelmed with the people they had in the first hour of the EMP attack. So not only is the hospital going to be overrun and overwhelmed, you come in with another body, there's no way they're going to save that person. And guys, triaging comes into effect. That's when EMTs, they go upstairs, they get all the way upstairs, and they look and they're like, there's nothing we can do for her. We can't even administer care, because by the time we get to the hospital, she's going to die again. And then if we get to the hospital and the hospital's overrun, they might not help her, and they might triage her, black tag her, and call it a day. So that is one of the problems, or one of the many problems EMT and medics are going to have when servicing the city.